Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Automation Expert training. I'm your host, Leandro Romala, and in this video what we're going to see is how we can use the CAT in our solution. So let's go to the presentation. So what is a CAT? Well, CAT basically stands for Composite Automation Type. And you can see in there the word composite, okay? So basically this CAT is, or what I like to think it is like a composite, but we can add like some elements that allow us to program like a graphical interface. Okay, so it's like a higher level of the CAT than the composite. So we have the basic as the basic function blocks, and then we have the function blocks that we can use CAT, and then if we want to integrate like a small HMI part or something that we're gonna see later, we can use this CAT. Okay, and we have different type of CATs. Okay, we have CAT for hardware and CAT for application. Okay, the one that we're gonna see now are the one for applications that we can use the function blocks, and then we can add some kind of graphical interface to our solution. Okay, so as you can see over here, there are the CATs. Okay, and then we have the instance of the CATs that we're going to use in our application. So this is the explanation of the CAT. Probably going to be much better if I explain this with this graphic. So this is the idea of the CAT. Okay, we have like three different layers. Okay, here of the CAT based on the definition of the help. We have interface, HMI, and symbol and faceplate. So the interface, okay, is the same as we see it on the basic function blocks and the composite, which are the inputs and output for events and data. Okay, then we have this part that is also related to the interface, because depending on the function blocks that we're going to use in there, okay, we should be able to link to the interface. Okay, then we have the HMI part, which is over here, the CAT HMI. Okay, and then we also have this symbol and faceplate. There are elements that we can use inside this CAT HMI part. Okay, in order to see this much better, okay, it's gonna be much better if we use we create a CAT and see the different elements. So in order to create a CAT application, we just right click on the application, select new item. Then in this particular case, there are different types, but we just select normal and composite. Then we just finish, and we should be able to see this over here, that it create the CAT, okay, with the name that we have defined, and also this identification IDs, okay, which is linked to the HMI part. Now, if we pay attention, we have the interface part, which is this interface with the inputs and outputs for event and data, and also the function blocks. Okay, this part over here is what they separate in the three different levels. Okay, labels, interface, HMI, but in this particular case, for the interface level, it's like, it seems to be these two, and then the other two is going to be linked over here with this one with this one, okay, for the HMI that we're going to see. So far these two parts is exactly the same as a normal composite. Okay, so we can create our logic, that is fine. Now if we open this IDs CAT underscore HMI, we should be able to see that we have a similar structure, okay, but they have a different blocks in size. If we open this, we should be able to see there isn't any function blocks to do, because it's just HMI part. And you can see over here I have the two different functions, okay, events, bool, events and data, okay, and also here the same, but have different things inside. Okay, so what we're going to do is to import the cuts that we need to use for our application. So if we open our application, okay, this one, let's just save all, close all documents, and then just go to here, application, import. We have these two cuts, one for conveyor and then for the valves. And in here you can see all the different things. So if we open this conveyor, this is the like a function block, but it's the cut, okay? And if we open this IDs, just you can see there is a few things more, because this is like the interface for us in order to enter data from the HMI to our system. So this is the conveyor HMI. It's just a graphical part. If you take a look over here, you can see in the default the different HMI things that we have. Okay, the other one that we have for symbols and HMI faceplate are for the faceplate are for, imagine that you have this configuration that you can add like a different pop-ups. Okay, they are for elements that are not meant to be always visible. In the previous video, I showed you in the calculation that I enter into one value and then a pop-up when a new a pop-up with a different entry appears. So that could be the faceplate for that specific element. So in here you can see that we have different inputs and output, and if we want we can drag it and drop it over here to make that change. So this is like a different design for a composite or a function block. Okay, that's why I told you that it's like having a composite and a graphical part. Now you can see here I have defined the interface, the inputs and output of this IDs HMI part inside the cut. So if we go now to the conveyor cut, this one over here, if we go to the function blocks, we should be able to see this call conveyor HMI that have all this information to be used in our code. Okay, so this is how we can link an operator or administrator or whatever person that want to make a modification to our code. Okay, this is how we can do it. So basically that is how it works. So let's take a look now over here. I don't want to forget anything. So let's try to, this part is already done. We have already imported the cut. Now we need to create a cut and add some functionalities over there. So let's just by creating a cut. So I'm going to close this, close this, close this. And now imagine that we want to create a cut that made the calculation, the one that I showed you before with this one. Okay, in the previous video I showed you that I have different elements, visual elements, in order to access to this data. But let's try to do it together here in a cut. So cut, new item, cut, calculation, composite, finish. So as soon as I create this, I have this interface, okay, which is good. Now let's just have a few. So the idea now is to create this cut. So what I'm going to do is to delete this part. I'm going to leave it just to initialization. Okay, and here event output, I'm going to put confirmation just to show the result. And here the input, and I'm going to use any input, and I'm going to use one output, result as a float. Okay, sorry, real. Okay, so inside, okay, what you can do is to create the elements. So I'm going to need two variables for the variables, and then another two variables to create the event for the for the calculation. That can be one way. Okay, but what I'm going to do is something similar to what I have on this part. So in this case, in the other part, in the other project, what I have done is to create the same. Okay, but let me just open this. I have created the calculation. I have used the calculation that I have used before. Okay, the composite. So we can use the composite over here to make the calculation. So this one's going to be FB calculation or composite calculation 1. Okay, so this one is going to be linked over here, and this one is going to be linked, oops, over here. Okay, now if I want to interface with some elements, what I can do is to call this where are you, here, this, okay, and make something. For example, here I can use outputs. I can add 2 different outputs, for example. Oops, I need to save this. Okay, there we go, it was the lock. I can do something over here, for example, variable 1, variable 1, save, and save old, and then on here I can use this variable. In this case will be result. Here I can design what I want to do. Okay, track. Okay, and using it in a different way. Okay, so this will be the complete design, but I want to avoid this part, so I'm not going to use it in this way. Imagine that you want to show this part. This one is an output. So in this case, if you want to show something, you should be able to do something like this and share it with one variable if it matches. Okay, and use it over here. Okay, this can be one way. And if this variable is not defined, you can add like this. It will automatically create one input or output depending on the where it's pointed. Okay, and then we create this, and you should be able to see on here, once it's saved, the result variable. Okay, in my case, I want to use the elements that are inside the application, okay, or our solution on the libraries. So I'm going to delete all this part, close all document, cancel, save all. Okay, and I'm not going to call this part because the HMI side is going to be linked internally. Okay, and I'm going to use a different elements. So now, in order to activate the variables input, okay, to show, we can see over here that I'm using these elements. Oops. So down, there we go. I'm using these elements. Set bool, just to change the for calculation or subtraction. So we can, let's see if I can copy this and paste it over here. Okay, so I have 2 buttons that I can link it to addition and the other one to the subtraction, and here the values when I change. Okay, so this is what I can do. This is one way to do it. Now this is to entry. Now I need to show this part. So if I want to show in a display, there is another element. Let me see if it's here in cut. Common process. You have signal. No, this is another thing. I always forget where they are. Common process, sequence, no, base, calculation, no, signal conditioning, no, supervision. Here, in supervision, we have display. Okay, in order to set a value, set point, and you have the values over there. You can see you have set bool and set real. In my case, I'm going to use set display real. Okay, so we can see this output variable over here. Okay, but again, in order to activate this, you should be able to link it over there. Okay, but if I show you in my application, I'm using this because I'm doing a initialization. So when I initialize this, okay, I send the value 0. That's why I can do it in this way. Okay, but in your case, there is no mandatory. So this is just a quick look. Now, if you pay attention now over here, where are you? Here, this. I have created a few elements so we can understand. And let me just name this. So it's going to be cut calculation result. Okay, I just add it over here. Now, as soon as you add these elements that have their own cut, okay, because they are cut, they have their graphical display. That's why I use it in this way, using the internal libraries or the libraries that I have added, so I can work much faster. Okay, so this one is not needed in this case, but I'm going to show you. So in the default part, this is going to be our graphical interface. Okay, and if you take a look over where they are here, say old, we have this subcut. These subcut are related to the elements that I have defined over here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These 5 elements. So these 5 elements have their own graphical design along with the logic part. So on the default part, what I can do is to drag and drop them. Okay, drag and drop them, do whatever I want on this one. Okay, do whatever I want so I can design the graphical interface for my cut. Okay, that's why I told you there is like another step compared to the normal composite. Okay, so just to show you this, how it works, I have over here in this example, this already done, and I have in the default part this design, okay, with the variable that I want. So if I want to add a different calculation, okay, I just drag and drop the cut how many times I want, and I can have the visual element with all the logic. Simple as that. That's the magic of using the cut. Now, if we open, let me just close all the documents. Okay, I'm left with equipment. Show you this. So I am calling the calculation, the cut calculation. As you can see, it's only one entry for the initialize everything, and that's it. There is nothing else. And this cut has their own instance, so I can copy and paste, create a different name instance for the cut, and then I can have the logic for 2 calculations with different elements, with different graphical elements. So if we simulate this part over here, now this, no, where are you? And I didn't open it, just bear with me a second. Just to show you how it works, okay? Straight. Okay. So as you can see over here, okay, this is the one that we played in the previous video. Now here I can use this prefix over here prefix, no, template, no, template, faceplate, okay, to activate all this part, main modifications, okay, apply, okay, and now add or subtract. If in this way you can design much better without making too many changes. If you change the original cut, it will affect all the different cuts that you were using, the instance of the cuts. That's why it's important to work in this way. And if you take a look over here, as soon as you use one of the cuts, you should be able to see on the cut instance that the cut is already created and use it. Okay, so that's just to show you. So let me just go back over here and just to check if there is something missing. So create a normal cut, check the interface, row, compare with the cut, HMI, show the graphical interface. I believe it's already done, but let me just double check something with you. Just to remember that we have two different interfaces, one for the cut for the logic and the other one for the graphical, okay? And if you want to add more value with different things, then this cut should have different IOs that will interact with the other cut, okay? So we interact as you can see on this one that has been created. I have the bulb, okay, and I have then the function block, this bulb HMI that is over here, bulb HMI. You can see there is one additional value, bulb position, and if we go to the structure, is in here, bulb position. Okay, so it's important for you to understand the concept, the different concept of basic function block, composite, and cut, so you can easily understand the difference and see how you can develop your application much better in this language. So this is it for the cut. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.